Hello, YouTube. So, as you can probably tell by all the stuff behind me, maybe you can, I'm blocking it a bit, that I'm a pretty big X-Men fan. I honestly have all their movies, like, not including the Wolverine movies because, well, I'm not particularly a big fan of those movies, and they're only focusing on one of the X-Men, not all of them, regardless. Um, I got pretty excited when I heard about X-Men Apocalypse, and then a bit discouraged because I got some information from some completely random person that it was going to be the last movie. Then I pretty much encouraged myself saying, yeah, no, there's so many other things I could do with X-Men, and pretty much got back to where I am now. So, but then when I saw the trailer had dropped, I immediately stopped what I was doing to click on it. And wow. Okay. If you guys don't know the general story of X-Men of what happens with Apocalypse, it's Apocalypse was the very first mutant ever in the X-Men saga. In the X-Men story, he was the very first X-Men. Okay, the very first mutant. There was no other mutants before. So, when he came around, he was sort of treated like a god, and then was imprisoned. Some godly treatment. He must have very happy followers. Um, but pretty much, when he's eventually awoken in, well, whatever time they want to wake him up, really. It can be either in like the 70s when this movie's gonna be taking place, or it can be in modern day when Evolution did it, or really any time, or in sort of the 90s when the animated series did it. So it can really be any time they want. So once he's awoken, he notices that people who aren't mutants have pretty much dominated the mutant population. So he gets pretty upset about this and decides to try and create a machine with his four horsemen that can pretty much turn people into mutants, but this will pretty much kill most of the human population, and only a select few will actually get the X gene activated. So, yeah, that's kind of the big reason everyone wants to stop him. They don't really care about the whole entire, okay, yeah, mutants should be cool with, people should be okay with mutants and everything. They're just like, okay, well, you're gonna kill people this way, so, yeah, we're gonna stop you. But this becomes a bit harder because he has the four horsemen of the apocalypse. That being death, pestilence, war, and the last one I always forget. I don't know why, I just always forget this one's name. Let me know if you guys remember it, because I can literally never remember this name. Um, Now, there have been a lot of different characters to actually be chosen for the Four Horsemen, and I'm actually pretty satisfied with the choices that they seem to have in this movie. So they pretty much seem to have, Storm, for one, when she's younger, so that's really awesome. Storm is honestly my favorite superhero, so I cannot wait to see her as a younger character. That just sounds awesome. I honestly cannot wait I just gotta see that. And then they're also going to be having Magneto, so that's pretty cool. Although I have seen him as one of the Horsemen before in Evolution, so it might kind of feel like repeated to me, but I'm probably gonna be okay with it. And then we have the Archangel. But wait a minute. Let's go back to The Last Stand. I know a lot of people hate this movie, but let's go back to it for a bit. So, in this movie, literally in its opening scene, who do we see? Archangel as a young boy. Now, okay, if you guys don't know this, the Archangel is actually Angel. He was sort of trained by Apocalypse into the sort of metal-winged Archangel. So that's pretty much what he became due to Apocalypse. And in this movie, we see him in modern day with the normal wings. So, like, okay, I was fine with it until the modern day part. Like, it would have been kind of cool, actually, to see him as a young boy and everything, as, like, sort of like a teenager or something with these wings, and, like, they were turned into metal because of this. But, yeah, even after Apocalypse is defeated, the metal does stay with the wings. So, he should still have the metal wings in this movie. That begging the question, why? Now, you could make the argument that in Days of Future Past, they did change the timeline. But if we're going to make that argument, then we also need to make in the argument that Logan still joined the X-Men. Granted, the Phoenix Saga didn't happen, but he still joined the X-Men, which happens in their very first movie. So if that happens in the very first movie, then that would mean that still had to take place. So that would also mean that his father was still probably working on the serum during this movie, meaning that the whole entire Phoenix part was cut out, but the same sort of events did take place. So, with that taken into account, I'm really curious as to what they're going to do with Archangel. So, I'm pretty excited to see what they're going to do with this character. And who knows, maybe they'll straighten all of that out, but, I don't really know if they will. It doesn't really seem like they're gonna try, to straighten all of this out, but really, if it's a good enough movie, then I can be distracted from that, and then we're also gonna have Psylocke in this one, who I think is going to be one of the Horsemen, and, whew, that would be awesome. So we haven't seen Psylocke in any of the movies before, but if you don't know her, she's pretty much that has these psychic daggers. That's pretty much her power, and she has telekinesis. So those are pretty much her powers. I don't really look into her character that much because really I haven't seen that much of her before, and yeah, she's just an okay character to me. I'm not really the biggest fan of her. She's just kind of cool. So I'm really curious if they're gonna make her stand out more in this one, or sort of be there and just sort of be a pretty bland and boring character. They don't really show who the fourth horseman is, but I'm kind of thinking that since Charles is dragged off by Magneto, who is being controlled by Apocalypse, that it might be Charles. I have seen this before in Evolution as well, and you know what? They do it really cool in Evolution. So if it is him, then hopefully they can do a similar thing. And okay, so we also got some new mutants joining in, along with a few familiar faces. So for the familiar ones, we have Scott, who is actually one of my favorite X-Men characters. So I'm really curious as to how they're going to make him when he's younger. That's something I really want to see. Then we're also gonna have Jean Grey, who, yeah, of course we all know. And I'm curious as to what they're going to do with her, cause yeah, she seems kind of cool in this one. Then we also have Nightcrawler, and I think he looks really different in this version. Because again, let's trip back a bit, but instead let's trip back to X2, X-Men United. Now, sorry, this thing looks weird. As we can see right here, That's our version of Nightcrawler that we see in the movie. Granted, he's not in this movie that much, but still, he's in here, so I want to see how he can sort of fit into the timeline. And also, they seem to make him a bit more like Evolution's version on this, or at least from what I've seen so far, and the actor choice, so I don't know, maybe something happened in between movies that caused him to act differently, I don't know. Um, so I'm, so I'm still pretty curious to see how that will work. Um, and then for some of the new faces, again we have Psylocke, but then we're also going, and of course we also have Apocalypse, but then we're also going to have Jubilee. Oh boy. If you guys know about Jubilee, or if you've seen the animated version of the X-Men, or at least the very first one, then you know what Jubilee is like. So pretty much her amazing power is fireworks. Mind blown. Yep, she can make fireworks. So that was her amazing power set. But that's not what people really remember about her. No, what we remember about her is how annoying she was. Now, there have been some annoying X-Men and kind of useless X-Men before, but none of them can compete with Jubilee. Why? Well, we pretty much remember her from one show. X-Men the Animated Series. Now here, she was sort of supposed to be like, I guess like a Luke Skywalker character that we could sort of follow throughout the show, and we could sort of be like, and sort of learn about the X-Men as she learned about it. But unlike Luke Skywalker, she got incredibly annoying. I mean, really, this character never stopped complaining. She never stopped whining. She would never shut up. Every single time she was on screen, she had some annoying little catchphrase that she was going to say, or she would just say, oh, well, I don't want to be here. I'm scared. Get me out of here. No, I'm sorry. All the other X-Men are so cool, and yet you bring her in and then destroy. All the coolness of the X-Men can pretty much be destroyed by Jubilee. Now, I know I'm being a bit tough on her, but I'll just give you one example of how she's been annoying and completely useless as well. So, in one episode, they were on this island filled with dinosaurs, which is already pretty awesome. And she comes across a T-Rex. Now, what does she do instead of, like the Jurassic Park method of staying perfectly still or something? And just sort of saying, help guys, very faintly or something to alert their attention to it? Well, no, instead she shoots fireworks at it. She doesn't even shoot it at the thing, she shoots it right in front of its face, just to, like, mildly annoy it to death. I don't know, what was she planning on getting out of that? I'm going to irritate you to death! That'll work! Yeah, it actually takes Wolverine coming in there and pretty much knocking out a T-Rex just to make it more awesome, for the thing to actually leave her alone. Granted, that does lead up to Wolverine hitting a T-Rex, but still. So yeah, I'm really hoping that they can do really good with this character, because if not, then she's just going to be the annoying little Jubilee that nobody likes. So, then we also got the return of Mystique and pretty much all the characters from First Class, my favorite Marvel movie. But pretty much the main characters out of that movie. We have, of course, getting Magneto, Charles, Mystique, and Beast. And also that government lady, maybe. Or maybe it's a completely different government lady. We don't really know or care. Um, so yeah, I am very excited as to what they're going to be doing with them. But the main thing I'm excited for is Charles Xavier in this movie. Now, I really do love what they've done with him in these prequels and stuff, but I cannot wait for this one just because of Charles. So for one, I love this actor in this role. He does great. He seems to have a real love for the character, and that just makes him really want to try his best with everything he's given, and he seems to love doing it. I, he's also the same guy who played Victor Frankenstein, and yeah, that's pretty much my same reaction to him there too. But this actor can bring in so much energy to it too. And for a guy who just pretty much just sits in a chair, that can work wonderfully. Now, granted, I don't know how his accent changes in between movies, but maybe they'll have an explanation. I don't know. And also in this one, we get a nice little shot in the trailer of him being bald. Yay! I cannot wait to see that. Then we also got him. Then we also got his eyes turning black for some reason. Thought back to Supernatural, and then I was just questioning why his eyes changed black. Now he does say he's never felt power like this before, and probably the best scene in the trailer, but they don't really say why it happens. It's just the power he felt, I guess. Um, so really, I cannot wait for this movie, but unfortunately, I'm going to have to because it comes out on Memorial Day. But really, I want to be one of the first people in line. Although I don't know if I can be, but I'm going to try. I really can't wait for this movie. It looks great. I've already seen the trailer 7 times, and I'm certainly not done watching it yet. I'll put a link in the description if you don't want to just type it in. Um, but pretty much, I cannot wait for for this movie. And I really want to see what they're going to do with it. It looks pretty cool, and I'm really excited. So yeah, bye.